Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Today I have Jen Thomas on, and we are going to be talking about stepping into and embracing your sovereign leadership era. I think embracing your inner sovereign leadership era is something that I see thrown around a lot in the online space, particularly at the moment. It's almost like become a trend, but what does that even mean? So, Jen, before we go into what that means and how we can do it, I would love you to introduce yourself and tell us your story.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. So, hello, everyone. I'm Jen. I'm a modern day priestess of Goddess Isis. I'm a certified angel guide, a distinction level coach, a TEDx speaker, published author, all the things. And yeah, essentially, what I help people with, especially highly sensitive, empathic, neurodivergent, often people, is to embrace their uniqueness so that they are the leaders of their own lives,
Love, 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 love.
welcoming them to their sovereign era.
I love that. It is a welcoming, isn't it? It's not like you're becoming someone new. I always talk about this when I talk about identity work. It's not, you're not becoming a new person. You're just becoming more of who you are and uncovering all of those layers, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. And I think particularly as women, particularly as highly sensitive or neurodiverse women, spiritual women, and people, we are very used to and conditioned to masking and performing an identity that we believe fits. But this sovereign era is recognizing the divinity and the strength and the deliciousness of being uniquely you.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us about your journey. How did you even get into this work? Let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back to the hilarious journey of leaving the video games industry as a brand and trade marketing manager to becoming a modern day priestess of Goddess Isis. It's an obvious step, right?
I mean, yeah, it feels like the next thing, doesn't it?
Yes. So 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago now, I experienced my first burnout in corporate. I'd spent 20 years in corporate marketing and experienced my first burnout that essentially was my heart and soul calling me to finally wake up to the truth of who I am. And it was sticky and painful and messy, as these things are. But it was also incredibly beautiful because it set me free. It was my first step on setting myself free. So I retrained, having left corporate, I retrained first of all in NLP, neuro linguistic programming for listeners that aren't familiar, and as a personal performance coach, and started my business, Revitalize Coaching, 10 years ago. 10
Wow.
years ago in September this year will be my 10th business birthday. But during that period, my spiritual practices and self and journey and expression were completely personal and completely private and not something that I talked about, even though I had experienced my version of spirituality since I was a teenager. So when I was 14 years old, that very tender, vulnerable age in many respects, it was a Friday night, and I was in my bedroom, and just in that theta sleeping state where you're just dropping off. And I heard my name very firmly spoken in a man's voice in a 14-year-old's bedroom. It was quite unnerving. And so it scared me. And I sat bolt upright in bed to see this huge blue orb at the end of my bed, which I now know to have been Archangel Michael waking me up. But at the time, it was shit scary. It absolutely terrified me. And I didn't have anybody to talk to about it either.
Yeah.
But from that day on, I started experiencing premonitions, and they were always for negative, fearful experiences, some on a global scale, and some, for example, I can remember, again on a Friday night. There's a theme here, isn't there? Walking into
Your Friday
town with
nights are very different.
yeah. They're very different now. But walking into town with a couple of my girlfriends, and I was saying to them, something's going to happen tonight. The glass is going to get broken. Somebody's going to get hurt. They were like, thanks for that, Jen. Yeah, really looking forward to tonight. And also, huh? How do you know this? And later on that night, indeed, somebody, alcohol involved, somebody punched a window, it smashed, and they ended up in hospital
Wow.
to be treated. And I'm glad to say we're fine by the end of it. And this went on for years and years. And it was heavy and intrusive. And yeah, I just didn't have that spiritual guidance. I didn't really understand it. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I had it. So I pretty much suppressed it. I didn't work with it intentionally in any way. I just knew I had a strong sense of intuition. And I conformed and got on with life. So I went to university, got my degree, went out into, the world of marketing, and spent 20 years in a corporate career, completely suppressing every part of my sensitivity, every single part of it, until I burnt out.
As we do.
As we do, yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me that so many people get into this work or fully embrace it after having childhood experiences. And then it is a case of burnout or something really drastic that happens to them. And it's that almost like the universe just gone, just stop. We've been trying to give you these signs. You're not listening. I'm going to make you listen now. And it is then having to go through this whole process. And it's almost like a switch, isn't it, that goes off. You're like, oh, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Right. Exactly that. It's the remembering, isn't it?
Yeah.
The remembering. And we finally realize those whispers that then become kind of shouty and loud. Those whispers that say, I'm meant to be doing something else. I'm meant to be and somewhere else. And I think ultimately what I knew above all else was that I wanted to be in service of others. I wanted my work to be meaningful. And whilst marketing was a bucket load of fun and turns out to be an excellent training if you want to start your own business, it didn't feel, particularly in the video games industry, it didn't feel meaningful to me. And I just felt completely out of alignment and out of balance. And what I realize now, having done the work, is that I was completely in my masculine energy. I'd learned to suppress the feminine, psychic, intuitive abilities to such an extent that I had learned to completely cope and thrive in the masculine, and not the divine masculine either. So by the time I left corporate, I didn't even like myself, let alone love myself, because I had created an identity that wasn't truly me. It was mask upon mask upon mask upon mask and performance. I was performing every day, essentially, without realizing it, and living a life that was fear-based and fear-led. All my decisions were born out of fear, and I had no idea.
It's crazy, isn't it? And I hear this a lot from people that haven't even stepped into kind of a healing era, that are going through these decision-making actions that they're taking because there's a fear of, but if I don't do this thing, it means something about me, or if I don't do this thing, then my business isn't going to work, or if I don't do this thing, then I'm going to get left behind and I'm not going to be creating the success that I want. And I think it's so interesting when you've kind of gone through, or you're going through a journey, because I do think healing and identity work, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? We're never fully
Yeah.
healed. We're always learning more things about ourselves. And equally, I think we always get triggers, don't we? We always get triggers that remind us of something that we've gone through in the past, but it's how we then cope and work through it, because we then have the
Yeah.
tools to be able to do that, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, Jackie, is the perfect segue to the sovereign leadership era, because you shift then from reacting into responding. And you, in so doing, you give yourself choice, more choice than you've ever had before. And even in difficult circumstances, right? So, and to your point, the journey is never done. Even just 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. 48 hours before, I was choosing to be homeless.
Wow.
And so,
Wow.
talk about the triggers
Yeah.
coming in to go, okay, how are you going to lead yourself through this then? And yeah, absolutely. The first step was the expression of the emotion, which was fear and deep sadness, deep sadness and disappointment and frustration and anger. Oh, I was angry. And, all the snot bubbles. But then it is, okay, thank you. I know this is happening for me. So what is the opportunity for me here? And I truly believed that. I truly believed in there being an opportunity for me. And there was, absolutely, there was. There was an opportunity for me to, and I had skin cancer. There was an opportunity for me to literally get comfortable in my own skin.
Wow.
And that was the healing journey for me. And it is therefore no coincidence. And I don't believe in coincidences. It is no coincidence at all. The synchronicity of it all was that the choosing to make myself homeless and travel around as a full-time cat sitter as my way of living,
I love that you
that
do that.
I love that I do it as well. I really love it. Is that I learned safety within my own body, not in the illusion of bricks and mortar.
Mm, yeah. What does sovereign leadership mean to you?
Everything. Sovereign
Everything. End
leadership.
of episode.
The end, right? Helpful, everyone. Sovereign leadership for me is leading from inner wisdom in real life, in action. It's not spirituality spoken about. It's not spirituality as a performance or a fashion statement. It is lived experience. So recognizing that the logical way forward, the linear path, is now rarely the right path. Uh, the courage, the certainty, and the vulnerability that is self leadership can only come from inner wisdom. So, as we move into this age, in our communication age, where AI is having a greater role, for me, that is fantastic, because that means great. Knowledge is over here. I'm not here to teach anybody knowledge and things they don't know. That's not what I'm here for. And I think AI is brilliant at that. And the more I lean into my right brain hemisphere, my intuition and creativity and working with divinity, the less I lean into the logic. But now I've got other tools for that. So now I'm able to fully lead with heart, higher self, soul, wisdom, inner teacher, whatever you want to call it, that often makes no sense on paper. And it is therefore being able to fully trust in myself, my feelings, what my body is saying to me, what my heart is saying to me, what the universe is saying to me, how nature is reflecting it back to me in my world. so that I can lead with the fear alongside, rather than it leading out front and making the decisions for me, so that I am forced into reaction rather than responding and choosing the way I want to live
Yeah.
and run my business.
I love that. And I think it's so interesting to talk about that topic in itself, because I think a lot of people see those that have gone on a healing journey or that are kind of what I would call spiritually awake and are more in tune with their bodies and their identity and what they're here to create, as almost that we don't have fears, that we don't have days where we're like crying into our pillow, that we don't have bad days, that we don't stub our toe on the bed, that we don't do all of these things. And I think it's such a I think people need to realize that actually those things happen, but we know how to move through it, and that actually it's just another lesson. It's teaching us something. It's getting us to stop and pause and reflect and move differently. But you can't avoid all of those fears coming up, can you? It's about like moving in a different way and learning from them.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It is all about how you move through them and with them.
Yeah.
Because I went through, this whole journey of looking to essentially destroy my fears. I wanted to eliminate stress from my life, but that's not real.
Mm,
That's not real. Yes, we are powerful, magical, amazing spiritual beings, but we're human first and foremost. We are here to have the human experience. So it is the unification of both. So yes, soul leads, but the human has to have the experience. And that experience is going to be a balance of the amazing and the shit.
yeah. Yeah, so true. What would you say to somebody that is listening to this today that is maybe going through a bit of a challenging time, whether it is in life or business, that just feels like everything is piling on top of them? What would you say to that
Mm.
person in order for them to be able to kind of realize that it's not happening to them, it's happening for them? And how can they see a lesson? Because I think when you're in it, when you are in the trenches of going through a traumatic experience or something that's really triggered you or brought up limiting beliefs, it's so hard to see that there is a good in this
Mm.
thing that's happening to you
Yeah.
right now. So what would you say to
Yeah.
that person that is in that stage?
I would say to them, first of all, don't try and find the lesson right now. It will appear and surface when you're ready. So don't push it, and don't, do feel compassion for yourself as you would any other person going through the same thing. And really importantly, meet yourself where you are right now. Don't try and fix. We leap to, because we want to feel better, right?
Yeah.
We just want to feel better and life to become easier again. So we look to fix and we look for the problem, what's wrong that needs fixing. But actually, what that does is takes our focus and our energy away from the truth of who we are in the moment and what we're feeling and what our body, what our ego, what our inner child is trying to say to us. So I think it is, yeah, with absolute compassion for self, it is, okay, what is it that needs to be said, needs to be felt, needs to be seen, needs to be witnessed?
Yeah.
And spend whatever time, and there's no time limit, but whatever time you need in that place.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know that the duration that you go through these phases will be different for everybody. Like that
Mm-hmm.
depends on what it is that you're going through. I know that I went through something last year that took me 6 months to kind of
Mm-hmm.
work through. I know somebody else
Yeah.
that's gone through a really traumatic thing in their life that's taken 12 months or longer.
Yeah.
It really depends. And it's about once you're out the other side of it, don't you? It's almost like a lightness that you feel. It's like that weight that's been on your shoulders is just suddenly lifted, or the thing that was bothering you before no longer does. And I think that's when you
Mm.
can learn the lesson and how you needed to go through
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, the universe is love, right? Unconditional love. It's not sitting there, arms folded, tapping on the like, come on, sort yourself out and, learn the lesson already. Because there is no judgment, there is no condition here. There is just experience. There is just experience. And it's okay that you feel really shit in the moment. It's okay for however long you feel shit, without judgment.
Yeah.
Because truly, as highly intuitive people, we know when we're wallowing, we
Yeah.
know when we're going into victim. So, just be compassionate with yourself and feel what you feel. You deserve that.
Love that advice. Jen, you are speaking at Light Leaders 2026. I cannot wait to have you at the front of the room with everybody there. What can we expect from you on the day? What kinds of things? I know maybe you haven't nailed down exactly what your talk's going to be about, but what
Mhm.
kind of thing can we hear from you on the day?
You can definitely expect humor. I will always bring, I even managed to find humor during my cancer journey. What I will always find humor and lightness. But you can expect different perspectives. You can expect to be challenged. Your limiting beliefs will be challenged, and you can expect to observe the strength within yourself, the awesomeness within yourself, and you can expect to leave having taken hold of a new identity for yourself that serves you to the best level ever.
I love that. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for this year. It's going to be even more magical. For anyone that's listening to this and you haven't got your ticket or you don't know anything about it, where have you been? Have a look at the link in the show notes below. It is jackielaws.com/light leaders. It's my yearly event, and it is where we bring all of these incredible people together who are soul aligned, who are literally scaling their business in a way that lights them up, that is leading with their heart and soul, and just to create an impact, to change lives, and just to be their best version of themselves, essentially. Jen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It's been lovely to have you. Cannot wait to see you at Light Leaders. Is there one piece of advice you would like to leave to finish this episode off?
One piece of advice: pay attention to what is happening in nature around you, because it is reflecting right back to you exactly who you are in that moment.
Oh, I love that. Love it. Amazing. Jen, where can we find you? Where's the best place to connect with you online?
Best place on socials is on Facebook. You can find me, Jen Thomas, and my website is revitalizecoaching.co.uk. You can find all sorts of juicy things.
Amazing. I will pop all of the links in the show notes below. If you enjoyed this episode, please do leave a review. Make sure that you connect with Jen and myself online. Let us know what you thought of this episode. And I will be back for the next episode very soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.